cannot tell you a secret.
Hi y'all, welcome to my channel at Unbottled Secrets. If you're new to my channel, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you see, and if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. New subscribers are a part of the Unbottled Secrets family, so the more the merrier. And if you're not new, welcome back. We missed you. So today we're talking about moving to Houston and is it worth it? So I moved to Houston around 5 months ago. It was 5 months, like December 26, 2017. And I was supposed to do this video like 90 days living here, but a little thing called Harvey happened and it just warped a lot of my experience in Houston. So I wanted to, give Houston a chance to, bounce back, places to open. I'm gonna get a car because I lost my car due to Harvey. And yeah, I just really wanted to give like a holistic experience or a holistic review of the city with me actually being in the city, living as an everyday occurrence. I will be highlighting my pros and cons about living in Houston, talk about like the different amenities living in Houston, giving you like my overall thoughts of living in Houston. So this video is for anyone who is thinking of relocating to Houston, Texas, what to expect if you are thinking of moving to Texas, or for anyone who's just interested in knowing what it's like to live in Houston, Texas. Either way, this video will be kind of funny. It will have so many anecdotes. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin. The first pro of living in Houston is the fact that it's a major city. I think it's the third largest city, but I'm not gonna lie because I'm bad with numbers and I'm not gonna fabricate the truth. But I'm assuming it's the third largest. If not, we're just gonna say it's one of the largest cities in the US of A. And because it's considered like, a metropolitan area where there's a lot of people, there's a lot of things to do. And that is just like amazing for a person like me who came from a small city in Florida, to say that there's not like every day there's something to do in Houston, where there's going to the museum or going to the zoo or going to bars, going to clubs, going to the park, restaurants, all those like fun things that someone who's my age, younger, would like to do. Yeah, so the fact that there's always something to do is just, that's an appealing section of the city that I would, recommend for someone who maybe in that younger demographic who wants to explore living in a large city, but not as condensed as a New York. But yeah, Houston's a large city and it's spread out accordingly. The next pro of living in Houston is the fact that it's one of the most diverse cities in the country. And of course with the size, like the physical size of the city and the population of the city together, diversity is always going to be one of those highlighted points of a large city for the most part. And if I'm not mistaken, like I said, don't get me in line because I'm not good with numbers, but I think it's the most, if not just one of the most diverse cities in the country. So that's always a great talking point, because that means that there's a lot of different cultures that you can explore here, and that's usually highlighted through foods and restaurants in the area. There's a lot of Mexican restaurants. I went to a Nigerian restaurant. They have an Indian restaurant. Of course you have your southern cooking, which is always amazing. A lot of seafood, which is woohoo. And just for just all different things that you can explore food wise in the city, and of course culture wise, and that's all reflected in the diversity of the city. One great point and one great pro about living in Houston is the fact that it's affordable to live. Listen, I'm a graduate student. I can't afford to live in New York right now. Living in Houston is just so affordable. Like my rent is $1,000 and I have a roommate and I only pay $500 a month. That is nothing short of a blessing. Thank you, Jesus. That's just amazing. Like, we could just stop, literally, you could stop my rent is so cheap. And my room is huge. My room is huge. I have a walk-in closet. $500 a month. And we have a fireplace. Look at God. Won't he do it? Living in Houston is very affordable. Gas is cheap here. I think last time I filled my tank up, gas is like $2.09 in comparison to other parts of the world. Of course, I'm going to continue to compare it to where I was at in Florida because I was there for Christmas break. Gas in Houston is just way cheaper, and that's just, you know, hey, come to Houston, we have cheap gas and cheap rent. Woohoo. Also, with like it being affordable, there's a lot of job opportunities. So yeah, the pro is the economy in Houston for the most part is amazing. Now I really can't attest to this from personal experiences because I don't like, I work in Houston, but I work as a teaching assistant, which is more for like tuition purposes as opposed to economic gain. So I don't actually work in the Houston economy, if that makes sense. I hope it does. But I do know people who work in the city. Obviously, I mean, a lot of people work in the city and they make a lot of money. And if you compare the cost of living to how much people are making, you are able to ball till you fall. If not for anything, you would want to live in Houston simply because Beyonce was born and raised here. That should account for something. Beyonce! I am breathing the same air that Beyonce breathed. That's not creepy at all. Moving right along. And the final pro, just to keep this video under a certain time frame, is the fact that people are really nice here. Like, extremely nice. Like, it's scary how nice people are with the fact that this is a large city. Yeah, people are just very accommodating, they're very polite, and I guess it's the southern hospitality of it. So you're getting like the New York City vibes with how like diverse the city is and how populated the city is, but you're getting like that southern Texas hospitality, or any hospitality that you normally get from the South, because a lot of people are from the South, just in Houston. And I just love how nice everyone is. Like, okay, so now no list will be complete if we did not mention the cons of living in this great city. And you know, the first con obviously will be the fact that the city is freaking huge. Like, the city is huge, like big. And it's great from the aspect of saying, hey, it's huge, it's diverse, cool. But the actual mass is huge. The city is too freaking big, and transportation does not necessarily take into consideration the fact that the city is really huge. Like, when you go downtown, of course you have your metros and like your busing systems, but if you're in like the outskirts of the city, or like I live in Southeast Houston, there's not really any leeway to get around the city without having to take 50 million buses to get there. And it's just, I think a lot of the cons that I'm about to mention with this, like the remaining cons with the exception of like one of them, will be the fact that the city is big, which limits a lot of different things. And not only is the city big, but you have all these different surrounding cities like your Pearlands, your Pasadenas, your Sugarlands, your Woodlands, whatever other lands that they have in the area. Also kind of adds on to the fact that the city is just huge. If you don't have a car, you're kind of out of luck, because I honestly say unless you're living downtown, you're going to need a car to get around. Yeah, you're going to need a car. Vroom vroom. Huge. Traffic is bananas, like B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Bananas. So I go to the University of Houston, go Cougs, and on a good day or an ideal day, it would take me around 15 to 20 minutes to drive to the school. That is perfect. But on rush hour or during rush hour, I drive, or I'm on the highway for probably 30-40 minutes. It is crazy how horrible traffic is here. My advice to that is to drive, like, just kind of like scope when the the high points are and when the low points are when it comes to traffic. So if you know that 5 o'clock, obviously from 5 to 7, that's rush hour. Don't get on the roads if you can avoid it, or take back roads. I know a lot of different back roads that I would take if I did not feel like taking the highway. So back to the point of Houston being super big, it makes meeting people and dating kind of hard, because like I said, I live in Southeast Houston, and I encounter a lot of people that live on the west side or the north side, and I'm not driving up there to meet anyone. So it's kind of like an inconvenience when it's like meeting different people and wanting to hang out with different people if you don't know people in your area because of that distance. Like, I'm not driving out of my way to go to Sugar Land to meet someone, or the west side, unless I'm trying to get some Nigerian food, and that's when I'm actually in the area. For the most part, my scope or my range of driving tends to be as far as the University of Houston is concerned. Of course, I'll go downtown because downtown is where a lot of things are, but Houston isn't limited to downtown. There's a lot of different things to experience on all quadrants of the city. So yeah, it's just hard. I think that's the real thing. It's just really hard to, you know, make plans to meet people because the city is just so big. It's just so big. So the final cons I have all are under the umbrella of weather. The weather in Houston sucks. And I say this coming from the Sunshine State that rained every 5 seconds. The weather in Houston, yeah, isn't necessarily ideal. For one, I think it has to do with humidity. And yeah, I know a lot of people are like, well, you're from Florida and it was very humid there too. But listen, the humidity in Houston is something serious, is something crazy. Story time. So when I moved, before I moved to Houston, I, you know, spoke to a lot of people, and a friend of mine was just warning me about the weather in Houston. She was telling me how you think it's hot in Florida, but Houston is just another kind of heat. And a lot of other people that I was like encountering before I moved also like had the same sentiments. They were like, yeah, it's super hot. And I'm like, y'all, I'm from Florida. Like, heat, what's that? Like, we are used to the heat. At least I am used to heat. But when I got off the plane, I landed in good old Houston, Texas, right at Hobby Airport, I was okay. It was cool. I'm like, okay, we were really good. I got in my little Lyft driver. Got into my Lyft. They drove me to my apartment. Okay, cool. I signed my lease. You know, had all my bags in tow. You know, signed my lease. I was walking to my apartment, and like the walk from the leasing office to my apartment was like, it was a little stretch. So once I got to where my apartment was, I was dying. Like, the heat came out of nowhere. Like, the heat didn't like just hit me. It punched me in my face. Like, I could not breathe. That's how hot it was. I don't know what was the difference between the airport and the leasing office and that walk to my apartment. And I think it has to do with like air conditioning. Like, I went from air conditioning getting off the plane, air conditioning getting into the lift, so I didn't experience being outside that long, air conditioning from getting to the lift to get into the leasing office, to that walk from the leasing office to my apartment was just me experiencing Houston in all its entirety, and I was dying. I could not breathe, and I literally like ran into the apartment, and the AC obviously wasn't on because, yeah, I just moved there, and I just laid on the floor. I laid on the floor. My soul couldn't take it. I was hot. I just want y'all to know that the weather in Houston is something serious. And with the humidity, not only is it super hot, it gets super cold. Which is weird because I purposely moved here because I assumed that, you know, hey, it's near Florida. Florida doesn't get cold like that. Houston shouldn't either. Until it snowed. Yeah, that wraps up the pros and cons section of living in Houston. Yeah, so for my overall thoughts of living in the city, I love living in Houston. Every time someone asks me, I will recommend it 110% because it is a great city. This concludes the video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you didn't like it, please don't thumbs down. Just go watch another video or come back and enjoy the face that is me, but please don't thumbs down this video. And if you do like what you see, as always, subscribe. The more the merrier. Join the Unbottled Secrets family. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, if you do want to keep in contact with me, I have a social media at Unbottled Secrets. That's for Instagram at Unbottled Secret, no S. That's for Twitter and Snapchat. And if you don't want to follow me on any of my social media platforms, you can always just comment down below, letting me know what you would like to see in the future of Unbottled Secrets. That's all I have to say. Until next time. Bye, y'all.